The NBA buyout market is usually a chance for NBA teams to get another player to help them just a tiny bit more. These are players who would normally be making a minimum contract, and they're just not contributing to their previous team in a way that helps them. Maybe they're too old and they don't have a future there. Maybe they're young, but they never really developed into anything, so the team's given up on them. Or maybe they're a player with some kind of, off the court issue, and they're not contributing to the team enough to be worth keeping them. Whatever the reason is, these players have been cut for their team, and the team got rid of them for literally nothing. So why in the hell does everyone seem to think that these guys who've been cut from their teams are making the new teams they go to so much better? Like, it's actually ridiculous, right? You guys see how ridiculous this sounds? These are players here who were cut for this team. Their teams got rid of them because they were contributing nothing. They were so worthless that their teams literally were just like, okay, we're going to pay you the rest of your money just to get you off of our team right now because you're not helping us. That's how worthless these players are. But all I have seen for the last 2 days are memes about how, oh my gosh, the NBA, they frickin' nixed the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers because that would have made the Lakers too good, but they're gonna let the Nets get 5 All-Stars? The Nets are the ultimate super team. They're unbeatable. They got 5... This is my favorite one. The Nets have 5 top 30 players now. Adam Silver, how could you let them do this? How does this not break parity in the league? And I'm sure there's going to be some coming out over the next day, so I'm recording this a day ahead of time. I'm sure there will be some coming out over the next day about how the Lakers are unstoppable now. And the Lakers and the Nets, they're meeting in the NBA Finals because now the Lakers have 3 All-Stars, 4 if you count Kyle Kuzma, based on how much people frickin' love Kyle Kuzma these days, and the Nets have 5 All-Stars. They've got an All-Star super team. They're better than the Warriors. They're the best team in NBA history. Oh my goodness, nobody else has a chance. Why are we even watching this season? Are you all on crack? LaMarcus Aldridge was cut from his team because he was not helping them. He's having the worst season of his career, by far. The dude's a terrible defender. He's a little too small to defend a real center, so he's not doing any for you against a Joel Embiid or a Giannis. And even though he can shoot, and I would say he's easily the best of the 3 big buyout players who I'm going to be talking about in this video, he's still not a great offensive player. Alright? He's shooting by far the worst from the field of his career, while also averaging the lowest rebounds, steals, and blocks per game numbers of his career. The dude is not having a good season. The Spurs, he was good 2 years ago, but the Spurs dropped him for nothing because he was giving them nothing. The man's 35 years old, he's not getting any better. Maybe he can help the Nets a little bit on offense off the bench. He can be a backup 5 who spaces the floor and gives like a Dwight Howard type center trouble who doesn't defend well in space, but he's not an all-star level player. This is not 2019 LaMarcus Aldridge. It sure as hell isn't 2014 or 2015 LaMarcus Aldridge when the dude was a legit all-star level player. Chill out. The other 2 are even less, alright? Blake Griffin is terrible. That's not, I don't hate on Blake Griffin or anything. He's straight up trash. He spent the last 2 seasons, when he's over the age of 30, averaging 11 points a game on 37% from the field. This is a dude whose whole game is attacking the rim, and he's shooting 37% from the field, along with 31% from 3. He's not a good 3-point shooter either, guys. 2019 was an outlier. He shot 36% that year, and yeah, he was basically a superstar. I would be willing to call him a superstar that season. Then he got hurt again, and he has fallen off a freaking cliff. Do not let 2 games with the Brooklyn Nets convince you that this man is great because he's had 2 dunks in 3 games, okay? He's still bad. He's still just a dude coming off the bench who gives you nothing on defense. Absolutely nothing. And he's another guy, same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge, who wants the ball. You can make the argument that these dudes that these players make their teams worse because now the Nets have 6 guys on the team who want to take more than 10 shots a game, and none of them should be. Well, that's not true. Only 4 of them should be. Joe Harris is still the 4th best player on the Nets. Holy crap. And that's not because Joe Harris is some amazing player. It's because LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin are way past their prime, and neither of them should be taking that many shots, getting that many shots, or arguably even be in the NBA today. Certainly not on a contender. Calm the heck down. So that's Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. They don't help the Nets that much. The last one is Andre Drummond. Now, Andre Drummond, he rebounds good. That's kind of his whole thing. He's good at rebounding. That's what he brings to the table. He's a slightly above average defender, but he has no ability whatsoever to defend in space, and I would say that doesn't help the Lakers anyway, because they're trying to go for a switchable lineup since they've already got Anthony Davis playing out of position at power forward because he's too soft to play center. So now they've got 2 centers on the floor, and y'all can tell me forever, scream it to the end of time, that Anthony Davis is an elite perimeter defender just like Kevin Garnett, and I have not seen it. Yeah, he can switch onto the perimeter a little bit, but you cannot tell me you want this man actually defending like a proper small forward. No, you don't. So he is not somebody you want on the perimeter, and he's not in the post because you got Andre Drummond. And then on offense, because what Andre Drummond brings is defensive rebounding and a little bit of rim protection. That's what he brings. But the Lakers are the best defense in the league. Their offense is what's sus. And let me tell you what Andre Drummond brings to them on offense. Fucking nothing. He contributes absolutely no value on the offensive end. He has 0 floor spacing ability. Okay? He can't hit a free throw to save his goddamn life. He shoots like 45% from the free throw line for his career. So he can't do anything outside of the paint, and many people have said, and I agree with this, that he is a stubborn player who wants the ball, just like Aldridge and Blake Griffin, although I would say Drummond is worse than either of them in this area. He wants the ball. He wants to put up his shots. He wants to get his numbers. He goes for the stats, even though they're empty. He may be the least efficient big man who takes as many shots as he does in the league right now. In fact, he is. Like, looking at graphs, he's terrible efficiency-wise. For a dude who does nothing but shoot at the rim, his efficiency is atrocious. He's not going to help this team's offense whatsoever. So please, people, understand that if Andre Drummond still had value to an NBA team, a team would have just traded for him. Even if it was just for a second-round pick and an expiring contract, they would have traded for him. If LaMarcus Aldridge or Blake Griffin had value, like real value to any NBA team, they would have been traded. You don't think the Spurs were trying to trade LaMarcus Aldridge? You think they wanted him to leave for nothing? No. They tried to trade him, and nobody wanted him for an actual price because he's just not that good anymore. These players are not making invincible super teams here. They're giving slight bench depth to teams that sort of need them. Okay? The Nets, if you didn't believe in the Nets before, like me, you don't believe in them anymore now because they have LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, who are both way past their prime. And if you believed in them before, this really shouldn't change anything either. Same thing with the Lakers. These trades, these signings, are not huge, groundbreaking NBA moves. They're just normal trade deadline signings that happen to have bigger names. The value of these players is not more than the average trade deadline signing, except maybe LaMarcus Aldridge is a little more valuable than usual, but still, none of these are star players, okay? This is just a normal trade deadline that happens to have bigger names. Calm the heck down, please.